Clashes over a disputed election in Mozambique have forced thousands to flee their homes, with many seeking refuge in neighboring Malawi. The unrest follows October's highly contested vote, which the opposition and also international observers claim was rigged. Venancio Mondlane, the main opposition leader, returned to Mozambique on Thursday after initially fleeing the country in the aftermath of the election. Mondlane has expressed his willingness to participate in talks to resolve the crisis. As the situation continues to unfold, many of those displaced are finding refuge in camps like Ten-gani in Malawi, where they face difficult conditions. DW's reporter Eldson Chagara traveled there to speak with the displaced people about their journey and the ongoing struggles they now endure.
Arriving in Malawi is a relief for many families fleeing the violence in Mozambique.
We are here because of the disputed election and the violence. Life is tough. Malawi is peaceful. I wish my country was like the people here are.
Crossing the border to get to this evacuation camp was a difficult and dangerous journey. Many recount the harrowing time they had getting here. But it's a struggle to access basic supplies once they have arrived.
My children and I slept 3, if not 4 nights in the forest. We arrived here hungry and exhausted. Sadly, there is a huge shortage of food. The children are only getting a little porridge. We plead with the Malawi government to provide us, Mozambicans, with what we need. Otherwise, we will starve.
Since I came here, I've been sleeping on an empty stomach. We only had 2 scoops of maize flour. There's no accommodation, no blankets, and I only have the dress I'm standing up in.
This temporary camp is one of 4 that have been set up on Malawi's southern border. Thousands of people have fled Mozambique. More than 3,000 of them are in this camp alone. Officials warn of dire risks as they struggle to manage the surge in people desperately seeking refuge.
This place is slowly becoming a breeding ground for cholera and other waterborne diseases. The main problem, besides food, is that the camp has no toilets. If nothing is done, cholera could soon break out.
Malawi's government is trying to scale up its support and is setting up a formal camp to better accommodate the thousands of people crossing the border.
Already some tents have been pitched there with support from UNHCR and also Malawi Red Cross and other partners. There's also latrines that are being put there. However, the biggest challenge we have noted on the site is access to water, as there's only 1 borehole on the site. So we're trying to look at measures on how we can ensure that water is provided to the site before we move everyone to this site.
Malawi is already struggling to provide enough food for its own population, and the surge in arrivals risks adding to the instability there, leaving many in Malawi and Mozambique hoping that calm can be restored across the border as soon as possible.
DW's Diane Hawker is following developments in Mozambique from Johannesburg, and I asked her for her assessment of the return of Mozambique's opposition leader.
Well, Mariana, the timing in this return is really everything. The Mozambican president-elect, Daniel Chapo, is expected to be inaugurated on the 15th of January, which is next week, Wednesday. And Mondlane says that he should be inaugurated instead, and it seems like he plans to hold a parallel inauguration process instead of Daniel Chapo. This is, of course, expected to create quite a lot of excitement and, to a certain extent, some uncertainty in the country. We saw that Mondlane arrived this morning to a gaggle of press and supporters at the airport in Maputo, and there is a lot of expectation of what he will do next over the next few days between now and that inauguration date.
All right, so the opposition leader planning a parallel inauguration. How is this likely to impact Mozambique's political landscape, and are there concerns that there could be more violence?
There are, of course, concerns that there could be quite a lot more violence. We've already seen 278 people reportedly killed. In some other reports from other civil society groups in Mozambique, they say that number could be even higher. Today, we've seen large groups of people walking through the streets of Mozambique and through the streets of Maputo, in particular, Mozambique's capital, hoping to hear what the next marching orders are from Mondlane. Now, Mondlane has been charged by the government for inciting violence, and there is a threat that he could be arrested if found by police. If he is to be arrested, that could spark even more protests, or he himself could call for additional protests over the next few days. There is an expectation that he will make further addresses now that he is back in the country. He was in a self-imposed exile, but it seems that due to this inauguration, he has felt the need to return to the country and, as he said, make sure that he gets inaugurated instead.
Well, Mondlane and also others have been calling on South Africa's government and others to intervene. Is that likely to happen?
Well, we have seen some efforts to mediate and to create some kind of calm in Mozambique over the past few weeks. We know that the Angolan government has also been calling for there to be calm. South Africa has sent an envoy to Mozambique to try and get the different political parties to come to the table and try and find a solution. That solution, it's not clear how it will come about because the views are so different as to what the true outcome in the election is. For example, the Frelimo party, which is the ruling party, has accepted that it has won by 65%, whereas the opposition parties in the country believe that Mondlane has won. And for there to be any kind of reaching of middle ground, someone will have to compromise on their position. And we haven't seen any appetite for that thus far.
DW's Diane Hawker in Johannesburg for us. Many thanks indeed.